Welcome to the March episode of Let's Talk Tech. If you're a regular viewer, we've been discussing streaming and setting the stage for the necessary devices you'll need, internet speed, and planning to move to streaming over the next few episodes and the past few episodes in particular. And we've also done it before in some short segments on previous shows. But today I'm going to review and show you content on a TV here in the studio as I navigate the many options. I personally have several devices that offer me the ability to stream. And I mention that because each type of smart TVs offer different apps and capabilities that are built in with the ability to also add additional things. For example, I purchased a new TV that had Roku built in. I must say the ease of use with that has been amazing so far. Streaming content on a TV means watching shows and movies using the internet rather than through traditional cable or satellite services. It's like having access to visit a library of entertainment where you can choose what you want to watch and watch it on your TV at any time. Unlike a DVR, which is set to digitally record, all of the content on streaming is all available on demand. Additionally, streaming services often offer closed captioning and audio descriptions for individuals who may have difficulty hearing or seeing the content, which is really helpful. Exploring different streaming platforms and finding the content that interests you the most is what we're going to discuss. It's important to note that streaming services are always changing and adding new content, so it's good to check on them regularly. You may also want to ask your friends and family for recommendations or research online to see what other people are saying about different services. Of course, you're going to want a smart TV. So make sure your TV is either capable of streaming, and it'll be labeled as a smart TV, or have internet capabilities. If you haven't been able to part with that old TV set that you've had for 10 years, you might want to check out the new options. And there are many that are very affordable. You'll definitely need to have a high-speed internet connection. You will need to have reliable internet connection to stream that content. The good news is that West Coast now offers higher speeds and no limits on data, which is fantastic because streaming does use a lot of data. Start with the streaming services first. What do you want? Like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, Disney Plus? You'll need to sign up for one of those services in order to access the content they offer. You may already be watching Netflix, which is very popular, but I'm going to show you a lot more today. So let's go. Well, here we are now. We're going to actually look at the television and see all the really cool things that you might be able to use here. So first you're going to need your remote though. Now, if you have a TiVo or you have a device that may have a remote, but your TV also comes with a remote. So I'm going to be focusing on using your TV remote rather than any other device remotes that you might have. Many of the newer TVs have all of the apps on the screen itself. This particular one, this is a Vizio television in the studio, but you might have a Samsung, you might have a Sony, you might have Vizio, or some of the other brands that are out there that are lesser known that have similar remotes. Most of them, again, do come with some pre-designed buttons. Like this one has Netflix already on it, Prime Video, Kumo, Hulu, and Redbox. And then it also has a button on this particular remote that says Watch Free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up, and you see that the home is lit on the top of the TV, right? And you see in gray you have live TV, free, movies, shows, apps, and extra. And then there's some other things in this particular TV called AirPlay and Cast. What you want to always keep in mind as you're navigating on this screen is you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with your remote and your home button, which in this remote's in the middle, and your input. That is the place that you can toggle between your TV content that you're getting now through broadband and your streaming services. Those are the two things. And if you're already using Netflix, you probably know that. So you see it has more input. So if you have other devices connected to your TV, any recent apps that you've used, and then the apps that you see across here, which are the typical apps. Most TVs allow you the ability to rearrange your apps so that you can actually put the first few apps become the ones that you watch the most. Now, one of the things I want to mention about apps is, of course, Netflix, Hulu, those are very common and everybody knows those. But this one has free watch. It also has Tubi, which is a free channel. Things like HBO Max, Starz, those are things that you have to subscribe to, but the apps themselves will take you right to their content, which is really handy. So I'm going to go up to live TV because I feel like people don't realize this part. And this is something I recently, I always saw that button there and I was just to never pay attention to it. So I thought, I was preparing for the show and I did this. Okay, so now that you see that this is the Vizio television's free and it says live TV, on demand, and your settings. Also another button you want to also become familiar with is the back button. I have noticed as I've been playing with all of this and learning this is that the back button is the most common to use to get back to wherever you were. So I hit the back and so this is the free content that comes with the Vizio TV. This is live TV. So you have your guide, which is very similar to other guides. And if you decide you want to watch something, you just go down through the guide and you scroll down using the button. Most remotes also have either a wheel or arrows that go up, down, back and forth. The bottom one is what I'm pressing on this one, which has the round. And let's say I want to watch the romance channel. I have a replay of CNN. I have Live Now from Fox. I have Daily Show. I have a lot of different things. I even have the Weather Nation. This is free content that comes with this television. Every smart TV now comes with this. Even TVs maybe 2 or 3 years old. I've had my Samsung probably now about 4 years, and it has free live TV as well. So without paying anything, you don't have to pay anything for this content. This is strictly coming from the app that's built into the TV, connected to your internet signal. Simple as that. So if your budget is that you don't want to have all these other apps that you have to pay subscription fees for, here's content that you can watch. So you saw the free content. Now I want to talk about these different apps. Some of these apps also offer free content. So I will show you a couple of those. So again, there's a couple of ways to get to your live free content. One is to toggle your remote till this is highlighted. Click on that. You also have down here, they have a tile. These are called tiles. So you'll see tiles. And when you're starting to do streaming, tiles are something that you're going to be using quite a bit of. Because everything is tile driven. Rather than in the old days where we hit the buttons with numbers, in streaming, everything is a tile. So I want to just go through. You see that you can watch movies, you can watch horror, reality, crime, TV shows, whatever your flavor is, you've got something here to watch. And again, most of this stuff is free. If you do see something and you hit it and it is a pay-per-view, it'll either say you have to have a subscription or it'll tell you. So you'll know right away. And obviously, if it's costing money and you don't want to spend the money, you just go to the next free one. So, okay. So Prime Video, that's connected to your Prime Video account. Apple TV, if you pay a subscription fee for Apple TV, then Apple TV, you would click there, it would bring up your account, and you would do it right from that screen. Then Disney Plus. Now, some subscription services, they connect multiple options for subscriptions. For example, Amazon Prime, you can buy HBO Max, you can buy Disney Plus, you can buy a lot of things within they're within that actual Prime. Now they do cost more money though, they're not part of your Prime membership, but sometimes it makes it easier if you are going to have multiple things to pick one main app, such as Amazon Prime, such as Hulu, such as YouTube TV, and then add your additional streaming subscriptions to that main one. And then you will just go to one tile and then your options will be there. So recently I did all of this. We cut the cord. We decided we were going to go to YouTube TV, which by the way, I'm really enjoying YouTube TV for the price and what it gets. And it was a challenge. I'm not going to tell anybody it's not a challenge to go from what you've been used to something new. But it took my husband, who's not techie, took him about 3 or 4 days to figure out how to navigate, and he was fine. And now he loves it. So don't be afraid of the change. It does take a few days or maybe even a week to navigate, but you can do it. You can do it, and you'll be so much happier. Okay, so back to this. I just want to go over this again. Tubi has free movies. Of course, they're not first-run movies and things like that. HBO Max, that does require a subscription. Right now, it's $15, about $16 a month. It just went up again. If you are paying, though, on your cable, if you're paying extra for some of these premium channels, what you might want to consider is looking at what it costs to actually do it via the app rather than within your cable package. Do whichever is less expensive for you. That makes sense, right? Another one that's not up here is Showtime. Showtime has a 30-day free trial for that app, so that's perfect. Give it a try. You've got your Vizio. We already looked at that. You've got Fubo TV. Fubo, I think, has some free things and some. Crackle, free TV and movies. The CW's here. Peacock. Peacock is off of NBC. They have some good premium content. They're not super expensive, and some other apps also include a Peacock subscription, so not extra for that. Vudu, Pluto TV, again, it's endless. So I just want you to understand that this is all available to you, and a good percentage of it is actually free. So you can watch till your heart's content. And if you like old movies, if you like replays of old TV shows like Friends and Golden Girls and mystery shows, all of that's available for you on most of these TVs built in out of the box. So in my experiment to do this, I decided to go and see what was available. I also found that you could add apps from news channels all over the country. So if you've moved here from somewhere else and you want to watch news from Cincinnati, Ohio, you can upload the app for the Cincinnati, Ohio news, whatever channel you like, ABC or whatever, and you can watch that. Now, if it's live, it'll play live. If not, it'll give you a menu, and you can watch whatever the last live broadcast was. But how cool is that you can keep connected to your home state and watch news right from there? The other things that you can add an app for CNN. You can add an app for C-SPAN. So if you are an avid news watcher, you can set all these apps up to have all your different news channels and simply use your remote to toggle through each. One of the final things I want to say about this right now is that one of the things you have to get used to is you have to get used to using the remote and understanding what all the buttons are on the remote. That's going to be your first way that will really help you to understand what these buttons do. And don't be afraid, just click around. Click around, because if you remember when I started this, what's the way back? Home or input? That will always take you back out of the app and back into this home screen, which is your safety zone, okay? So don't be afraid. take a chance, try it out, make the list of what you watch now on your current setup in your home, and then figure it out. One of the things that we've been talking about in the PC Club education is perhaps having classes on this whole thing in more in depth. So stay tuned for that. We're still in the process of developing it. But I didn't want to give you too much today. I just wanted to have you not be afraid to look at what you have on your TV right now and start seeing all the cool stuff. So next month, I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into like 2 apps and actually show you what the content in those apps look like. And we'll be right back.
In 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Day.
Get the latest updates on what's happening in Laguna Woods Village. Watch This Day with Lisa Hart every Monday through Saturday, or watch anytime on our YouTube channel, Village Television.
Hi, everyone. Well, today we have a special guest. We have Chuck Holland, who is our Information Services Director, and he also handles all of our resident services. So we're very fortunate today. We're going to take a little walk around resident services and have a chat with Chuck. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie. I really appreciate the opportunity to present on behalf of Information Services. And let's talk about Information Services. What is that really, what is that a part of? Information Services is really part resident services and part information technology. So combining those two departments together, we call it Information Services, right? So we're handling all the front office customer service for the residents, as well as the information technology for village management services.
Well, that's wonderful. And one of the big reason why I wanted to do this was we've recently redone our call center for resident services, and we really wanted to focus on that. And then also give our residents a little bit of a peek around to just kind of see what we do here, because you've told me some amazing numbers on the call volumes. If you want to share that with the audience, that would be great.
Yeah, I think there's a real misconception on the type of volume that we're doing here at Laguna Woods Village. We just come off a very successful year of 2022. We're past the pandemic. We're in full swing. Everything's been open. Some limited recreation areas, but as far as resident services, we've been fully open for the last year. 2022, we did over 125,000 phone calls. That's just resident services phone calls. We did another 150,000 gate clearance calls. We've registered 350,000 guests. We did over 1 million guest check-ins. We've done over 100,000 work orders, and we've handled over 45,000 walk-ins right in this building alone.
That's just even more than I had even anticipated you were going to say. Mm-hmm. And realistically, when you think about that for the size of our village, mm-hmm. we're doing volumes that are much higher than major cities in the area.
Absolutely. We had the previous CEO, Brad Hudson, was the city manager for Riverside. And he had said we were getting like the volume was 3 times more for the whole entire city of Riverside that has millions of people versus what we have 18,000 people here in the village.
And one other thing I just was thinking of when you were speaking about that is you've shared with me before that we have a pretty high customer service rating too. So I think that's important for our residents to know what those ratings are and how you're surveying people on their experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Last year, if you're having work done inside your home and there's a ticket that's closed, and we sent out about 50,000 surveys over this last year in 2022. We received, I think, about 20,000 survey results back, which is a pretty decent response. And the average, there's 5 very simple questions, about 5 questions. How was your call center experience? How was your maintenance experience? How was the courtesy of the employee, et cetera, et cetera. Out of a 5-star rating, we're averaging anywhere between a 4.5 and a 4.7, right? So a lot of times, things go very, very well. nothing's ever perfect. I always like to think that Laguna Woods Village is kind of like a cruise ship, right? 10,000 things have to go right every single day, but every once in a while something's not going to work, but we always want to identify those things that don't go right via the survey. Part of the survey process is they send people who give us a low score, any 3 or low, or give us a comment that's negative. We want to follow up and figure out, hey, where did we drop the ball? What can we do better? How can we serve the community in the best, most economical and efficient way possible?
That's really good. I mean, I think everything is always about process and improving processes, and the fact that we're very focused here on improving the customer service experience is one of the reasons why I was there. I wanted our residents to really realize we do a really good job here with all of the things that, like you said, the 10,000 things that have to go right. So we're going to overlay some things. Can you tell us about the new call center board? We're going to put it up on the screen.
Oh, sure. Last year, what really became a concern for us during the COVID times with the way the previous resident services layout was set up, we had 4 very large cubicles, but we had 4 people inside one cubicle, and we're really about health and safety. There's overspray, when people are on the phone, they're constantly vocalizing, and there's vapor in the air that could have COVID. So what we needed to do is come up with a better solution. So each individual agent now has their own little work area. There's sneeze guards all around for safety and services. It cuts down on the noise, and it gives them an area where they come to work, where it gives them a little bit of privacy and some place to really call their home while they're here in the community. So last year we did a remodel. We created I guess you could call it a cubicle farm, an actual call center here, and to give our team members the space they need to do a really, really good job. I'm always a firm believer that if you take care of the people who are taking care of your customers, it's always going to provide a better level of service. You can't lose there, and so that's what we've done.
And we're showing that now. So, so there's a big screen that's here in the bay, and then you have it up in your office, and so does the manager Stacy. Can you tell our viewers what that actually means?
Sure. Every single phone call, as I mentioned some stats earlier, everything that we do is tracked. We have to have metrics. And without those metrics, we can't course correct to make services better. We've been tracking phone calls for decades here, but more recently we're using all the new technology. This new technology we're using is called a wall board. On the wall board, on the floor, in the call center, anybody who is an agent taking phone calls, they can quickly always look up and see where we're at during the day. They can immediately see how many calls are on hold, what agents are logged in, who's on a call, who's on break, who's on lunch, and then who has the next phone call that's up and coming, who's ready to take the next phone call. So that's really an important part of what we do. It's really important. I like the fact that the wall board is up there so all the agents can see where we're at. So they know if the call volume is getting high and we have long hold times, we put every single resource that we can on the phone. And
just remind our residents, if you would, about wait times and when's good times to call?
Oh, very good point. A lot of times we do get a lot of feedback saying, hey, I had to call for 20 minutes, I had to wait, or I was on hold for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But I have to tell you, that's the exception, not the rule. On an average month, we're getting anywhere between 10 and 12,000 phone calls, right? The average wait time is really about 3 minutes and 50 seconds, a little less than 4 minutes, the average. Now, on a Monday morning at between 10 and 1, it seems to be our peak call period. That's where we have the most volume. But keep in mind, I have to break half my staff to go to lunch. So when people call at the peak period, when I have half the staff members on the phone, then that's when we start having those long hold times. So if you waited later on in the week, or later on in the afternoon, or later on in the week for your customer service or resident services phone call, you're going to get a much better experience. Calling on Monday morning, when everybody else does, right. Yeah, you'll see. And then we'll get a chance to see some the actual live wall board, and we'll go out there and we'll see how many phone calls are on hold.
That's perfect. And then I know you gave me a little sneak peek that you're also going to be looking at a new telephone system that has some automation. Can you give me a quick, just a little peek at that?
Well, there's a couple things with our current existing phone system. It's over 10 years old. It's older technology. We're going to be moving our phone system into the cloud, just like we are with our financial systems. Yep. We're all lifting and shifting and moving to the cloud. But in the cloud gives us some advanced level of technology that we don't have now. We're talking about automated resident callbacks. When you do call in and you don't want to wait on hold, you're able to leave a message, and then an agent will follow up with you at the first available. Also having voice response, where not only do you have to listen to a voicemail tree where press 1 for this, for 2 for that, it'll be voice activated where you can actually ask it questions or ask it specific departments, and you'll get us a response. We're hoping to increase our call center, or to increase the number of phone calls that we answer and to reduce the level of hold times. We're hoping that this artificial intelligence, AI, can really help us manage the call flow better and actually help residents with self-service if they have simple questions or simple work orders, that the system will do it for them instead of having a live agent to do every single one.
Well, and we do a lot of work together on the ITAC committee, and with the upgrade to the technology modernization is basically what we're doing in the whole village, and it'll be a process over a period of time. It's not overnight. We've already been working on it for some time now, but I feel like bringing us into the future is absolutely necessary. We have to be able to sustain, and technology is rapidly changing. So before we wrap up, Barry, do you have anything you'd like to share with the residents beyond this, and then we'll take a little walk around?
Yes, I know. Looking at the community as a whole, we know we have a lot of long-term residents and we have a lot of new residents. We want to make sure that, I know a lot of the technology stuff there, it terrifies people and it's very scary for them. We're always going to be here to take your phone call. You're always going to be able to come to resident services. The type of technology that we're dealing with here, it's for our more recent retirees, people who are still living in the community, who are working, who are familiar with that technology, who are demanding those services. But for our other residents that have been here for a long time, we're not leaving you behind. That's the whole deal. No resident left behind. We're going to have something for our newer residents and the technology that they need, and we're going to have services and the ability to support our current residents who just want to come down here and say hi.
Well, thank you again, and we'll be right back. So the March episode has drawn to a close, and thanks to Chuck Holland for the tour of resident services. Again, this was a lot of information, but hopefully valuable for you to consider going forward with your streaming. Next month, I'll discuss unlimited data and what that really means, and give you a scoop on a tool called ChatGPT, which uses artificial intelligence, and discuss some new apps for your mobile devices, specifically for seniors. As always, be kind when posting online. If you need to ask a question, make a comment or concern, please email me at talktech949@gmail.com. And again, it's my pleasure to do this show, and thank you for viewing. Have a great month.